Welcome back, everyone, to Bay Sunday. Ever have a difficult time seeing eye to eye with your coworkers? Don't know how to deal with challenging conflicts among colleagues of different ages or from different generations? Well, we've got some answers for you today. Here to help us manage and promote a better working environment between the different age groups of employees is the co-author of Generations, Inc., Meagan Johnson. And Meagan, welcome to Bay Sunday.
Thank you.
Let's talk about these generations. I mean, it truly is a multi-generational workforce out there. What generations are we talking about?
Well, right now, there can be 5 generations in the workforce. You have a little bit of the traditional generation. Those are people born before 1945, sometimes known as the World War II generation. Lots of the baby boomers. Those are people born between 1946 and 1964. Got the Generation X, my generation, people born between 1965 1980. Generation Y, also known as the New Millennium generation, born between 1980, 1995, and then just a very few of what we call in the book the Linksters. And the Linksters are people born after 1995. They're the ones that are working part-time in the grocery store. They're making your half-calf decaf latte at Starbucks every morning.
But they're out there.
There are just a few of them out there.
Let's talk about some of the problems that come up between these different generations in the workplace.
Well, the big problem is there's different expectations. I use a term called generational signposts. And a generational signpost is an event that's very specific to your generation. It shapes how you perceive conflict, it influences you when it comes to motivation, and it also bonds us to one another. We share an emotional bond with other people that share our generational signposts that's truly unique. And when I'm speaking to a live audience, I always ask the group, who remembers where they were the day a man walked on the moon? And you have some people that remember, and I make the point that not only do they remember where they were, they remember who else was in the room with them, and they remember why it was so important to the United States to send a man to the moon.
But it may be totally foreign to other generations.
Bingo. And it's not so much that the younger generation doesn't remember, it's, to put it bluntly, they don't care. And why should they? A man walking on the moon, a man walking to Walmart, no big difference. And so every generation has this emotional attachment to their generational signposts that influence them at work.
And a lot of it, too, is communication. I mean, you talk about, you've got the baby boomers, or you got, the generation earlier trying to talk to people who could be their kids.
Right, exactly.
And they maybe talk to them like kids.
Exactly. You've got the baby boom generation who in some cases now are being managed by Generation Y, and they look at that 20-something or young 30-something and think, I'm just looking at my kid, and I'm supposed to take directions from this person who looks like my kid, or who has tattoos and piercings and baggy pants, and I'm supposed to take direction from them,
so
and you got your class.
How do you resolve conflict without being rude or disrespectful, and understanding that there are these differences, but you can work around them?
Well, I say with baby boomers, if you have a younger boss, just suck it up and get over it. I mean, sometimes when we feel that we've been slighted, we get sort of in that rut of whining and complaining about it. And accept the fact that this younger person has a knowledge base that allowed them to be promoted.
And if you're younger and you have an older boss and you don't necessarily agree?
If you're younger and you have an older boss, you definitely want to show them respect. Even if you have the answer, I say to younger managers, even if you know the answer, ask that older employee their opinion. Because that's really what baby boomers want to know. They want to know that what the skill set they have, that it's still valuable, and that they're not just being pushed out the door. And what they do have to offer is valuable. If all our baby boomers were to walk out the door, we would be in a sorry state.
Well, talking about a perfect working environment, I mean, you actually wrote this book with your dad, Larry Johnson. Did you ever have any multi-generational conflicts and conversations?
Oh, yeah, we had multi-generational conflicts.
Give me an example of one, maybe, that got resolved.
It was interesting is that...
Because you're still working with him,
yeah,
so that's good.
Yeah, we're still working together. Hopefully he hasn't fired me while I was gone. But he definitely wanted to meet more face-to-face and talk about the book. And I wanted to spend more time, we could just communicate, sending the chapters back and forth. And well, we need to meet and talk about this chapter. I'm like, well, why do we need to meet and talk about the chapter?
Just send it to me email,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, let's just talk. Let's just send it to me email, bullet point the things you want to talk about, and I'll work on it tonight when I'm done and I've got some downtime at 9 o'clock at night. I'll get it done. So I think sometimes my dad had a little bit of a hard time. Not that he won't use technology, but I think he had a little bit of a hard time accepting the fact that we could write this entire book without even seeing each other face to face. Now, I love seeing my dad, so don't get me wrong. He's going to watch us and say, oh, you don't want to spend time with me.
But I mean, that again, you can look at the workplace and how people can accept that younger generations can get it done via email, things like that, without face-to-face.
And now you've got social media. And social media tools have a completely different role in the life of Generation Y versus baby boomers. You know, baby boomers, I think, see social media as just a way to make sure, you know, they're doing better than the people they dated in high school. Whereas Gen Yers use social media to make business decisions. And baby boomers need to recognize that if they're going to work effectively with Gen Yers.
Okay. What message do you want your readers to take away from this?
Oh, you know, I would say the biggest objection people give me is, why should I? Why should I do anything different? And I always tell my audience, I say, well, you know, one time we didn't wear seatbelts in cars, but we got new information, we changed our behavior for a better result. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Just like wearing a seatbelt in the car.
Yep, we definitely need those. Okay, Meagan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It makes perfect sense. Meagan and Larry Johnson's book can be ordered from any online bookseller. For more information on Generation Inc. and this father and daughter speaking team, you can log on to johnsontraininggroup.com. Coming up next, an original approach to a mainstream issue. We explore the idea of family diversity around the world. We'll be right back with more Bay Sunday.